So since all of you seem to really enjoy my white bean stew recipe, Mediterranean style, well, here's something along those lines. Something nice, light, healthy, might I add. It's going to be this asparagus soup. It's going to be topped with some sour cream, some chives, and a bit of cheese. Can't go wrong with it. It's very delicious. Let's get into it right now. The ingredient set will not surprise you, and everything is nice and light. So wash the asparagus really, really well, and then start just breaking off or cutting off the hard wooden parts at the ends of the asparagus. It really is not worth your time to make it tender to use in this soup because it's never going to be as smooth as the actual soft parts of the asparagus. Instead of throwing it, you can use it to make your own vegetable stock along with some other herbs and spices, but we're not doing that today. And I'll also be breaking the good parts of the asparagus into halves or thirds depending on how big they are. Then get a large pot, nice and warm, and add in your butter and let it all melt as you add in your diced up onions. You can see it's rather large. You don't have to work too hard to make it too small because we're going to blend it later anyways. Some salt to help them tenderize as you saute these onions until they soften, just like this. Add in chili flakes and roughly chopped cloves of garlic. Same story here. Just saute until they soften a bit. Everything becomes nice and fragrant. Should be no more than 2-3 minutes. And then you can add in the asparagus and we'll start to saute those, get all that flavor, the spiciness in the asparagus as we start to cook them as well. Again, keep seasoning at every stage. We'll slowly build the flavors. Salt and pepper here. And then once you've mixed that really well, add in your vegetable broth. And I'm using this super tasty one. I really like this mushroom flavored broth. You can pick your own favorite one. And if you don't care about non-vegetarian, chicken broth would work really well as well. We'll bring that up to a boil, let that come up to a simmer, and then tone the heat down. And then you just gently simmer that for 10 to 12 minutes. The idea is to tenderize the asparagus completely and let it absorb all these flavors that it's simmering in. You'll see the color would have changed a bit. It's going to be a more murky green. It's not going to be as bright anymore. You can now add in your finely chopped chives. I'm reserving half of it for later, so add just a half or maybe like 75% of the chives that you've chopped for this recipe, and then get your immersion blender or transfer this to a Vitamix if you have that. That's going to make the best purees. But I'm going to show you today with an immersion blender, and that you can in fact puree asparagus with an immersion blender for this soup. Once it's nice and smooth, give it a taste. Adjust for seasoning, salt, pepper, chili flakes, and then add in the rest of your chives. I'm really happy with this. So once you are ready to serve, make sure you give a generous portion. It's full of good stuff. And if you've noticed, we didn't make it heavy by adding in some fatty or heavy cream either. Everything else is optional. The base is very nutritious. So I'm just going to use some light sour cream and just put a little bit all around the bowl. And some more chives for garnish along with some cheddar cheese. The aged stuff works really well. It's nice and salty, contrasts with the creaminess of the soup. And then optionally, after you've simmered the asparagus and you're about to puree them, you can pick out some of the cooked asparagus tips and reserve it as a garnish like I have over here. Just for presentation, you know, like it doesn't matter like if you're not, I guess, hosting or if you don't care about those kind of things. But if you do, this is one way you can, you know, bump up the presentation points for this dish. And with this, you have a really nice, rich, creamy asparagus soup that you can really make your own by adding in these toppings, the cheese, the sour cream. You can even add some bacon on top. That would be amazing with this. Pair it with some crusty bread, and this is going to be an amazing meal for you. Very light, very healthy, and I'll see you all on the next one. Make sure to check out other similar recipes down below.